If you're new to keto or thinking about starting a keto diet, you might be wondering how you're going to survive without all of your favorite carb-heavy foods. To help you tough out those cravings and set you up for success, I have some of my favorite go-to recipes that are so tasty and satisfying that they could be considered essential for anyone starting a keto diet. My first recipe to help you survive keto with ease is pizza. This keto pizza recipe makes a crust that is crunchy on the outside but chewy on the inside thanks to a special ingredient we add at the end. Start by adding 1.5 cups of almond flour to a food processor, then 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum, and half a teaspoon of salt. Pulse this together until it's combined. You could use a hand mixer to make this dough, but the food processor works the best, and you'll see why in a bit. To give the pizza crust a chewier center texture, use mozzarella cheese. You need around 10 ounces or 3.5 cups of shredded mozzarella. Melt this over the stove in a nonstick skillet, or if you think that the stovetop is the devil, go ahead and pop it in the microwave at 60-second intervals until it's melted. Back to our flour base, add the melted cheese along with an egg, and mix until a dough ball forms. If the amount of cheese in this recipe scares you, I have lots of other keto pizza recipes on this channel, like a deep dish pizza or a zero carb pizza. I'll have those linked down below for you. You can see how uniform this dough is. It's pliable and stretchy. The mozzarella cheese works similar to gluten that's found in traditional pizza dough. Next, roll out your dough in between 2 sheets of parchment paper, attempting to keep a circle shape or a rectangle. Oval will work too. I guess you can make a triangle shape for those geometry nerds, like an isosceles triangle. Now it's time for the toppings. Use your favorite low-carb marinara sauce. I'll have some ideas for that listed down below in the description box. Then sprinkle on cheese, add your favorite toppings, pepperoni, maybe some veggies. There's no need to pre-bake the crust here unless you like extra crispy or crunchy crust, which is one of the things I love about this recipe. It's like making traditional pizza, where you add the sauce and the cheese and the toppings and you bake it. There's no bake, then add, then bake again, then add, all that jazz. It's a little bit too much in and out of the oven for me. You can also freeze your pizza just like this and bake it from frozen, or you can just bake it right away like we're gonna do now at 400 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes. When the rest of your family is ordering pizza and waiting for that delivery guy to show up, you can easily be making your own keto pizza, and it's gonna be ready and probably before the time that guy gets to the door. And that way you don't have to resort to pulling toppings off of a pizza, which, by the way, I don't always recommend because a lot of those pizza restaurants add a lot of sugar to their sauces. One of the dreaded pitfalls that people can fall into when starting a keto diet is the dreaded, I'm starving, it's dinner time, I'm hungry, I don't know what to eat, I don't want to go to the grocery store, I don't feel like cooking or chopping a bunch of vegetables. These moments will come. They come for me at least once a week. That's why I love my Green Chef box, who is my sponsor for today's video. Green Chef is a CCOF certified organic company who provides me with pre-portioned, easy to follow recipes that are delivered right to my door. They offer organic produce, quality proteins, and a sustainably sourced seafood. Not only do they give me the exact amount of ingredients I need for each recipe, but most of them are already prepped, so I don't have to do too much chopping. It's just enough to get my aggression out for the day. They have delicious choices for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus there's meals that fit every lifestyle, like keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, fast and fit, Mediterranean, and gluten-free. So you can easily hit your wellness goals, save time since all the meal planning and the grocery shopping is done for you. Use my code KetoFocus60 to get 60% off plus free shipping on your first box. Just go to greenchef.com for more details. And my boxes were delivered at the perfect time today because I forgot to set up the crock pot this morning, so I have no clue what I'm making for dinner. But when I pulled out that menu, I knew right away that my family was gonna love this chicken stir fry. Again, go to greenchef.com and use my code KetoFocus60 to get 60% off plus free shipping on that first box. Sometimes the struggle isn't about being prepared, it's about cravings. And when I have those cravings for Chinese food, I make this dish. Add a pound of ground pork to a skillet and cook until it's browned over medium-high heat. You could also substitute with ground beef, chicken, or turkey here too. After it's cooked through, add in the whites and the light greens from 4 green onions. Then 3 cloves of minced garlic, 2 teaspoons of freshly grated ginger, or if you're lazy like I am, just use the paste on both the garlic and the ginger. After about a minute, it's gonna start to smell real good. That's when you stir in 4 ounces of sliced mushrooms and add a bag of coleslaw mix or some shredded cabbage. This is just my easy little hack here, but you could definitely shred up your own cabbage. It's a lot cheaper that way. I'm just lazy. For sauce, add a 1/4 cup of soy sauce or liquid aminos or coconut aminos, 2 tablespoons of white vinegar, 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, and 1 teaspoon of sugar-free sweetener. Stir and cook this until the mushrooms have softened and the cabbage cooks down. This dish is called egg roll in a bowl because we make all the delicious components of an egg roll in this one pot recipe and serve it in a bowl without having to use an egg wrapper. So you can easily satisfy your craving for Chinese food, but without the extra carbs. We're gonna add in an egg to this, so make a little well and crack the egg in. This always reminds me of when I was a kid and used to try to contain my gravy lake within the walls of the mashed potatoes. And then you'd slowly eat the sides of them, and then all of a sudden the lake would spill out. It was sad. Once scrambled in, stir in the green parts of your green onion. And for some heat, I like to top my egg roll in a bowl with sriracha mayo that I made using a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise and a tablespoon of sriracha. After a few days of starting keto, you might start to crave something sweet. Instead of giving in, turn to some easy keto desserts that are portion controlled and single serving sized. That way you're not tempted to eat the entire thing. Plus, they don't take very long to make. My favorite recipe for this is my 1-minute keto chocolate chip cookie. In a small bowl, add 2 tablespoons of almond flour, 1 teaspoon of coconut flour, 2 teaspoons of sugar-free sweetener, then mix these together. Then 1 tablespoon of softened unsalted butter, a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, a pinch of salt, and 1 tablespoon of sugar-free chocolate chips. I like to mix this together with a fork because you need to cut that butter into the dry ingredients just in order to mix it up. That's why a fork works best. Next, roll it into a ball and then flatten it. And you have the option of baking this in the oven, like a 350-degree oven, but then it wouldn't really be called a minute chocolate chip cookie, and it kind of defeats the purpose. Plus, I can't wait that long. But if you need those instructions, they are on my website. Just Google KetoFocus chocolate chip cookie for 1 and you'll find them. Instead, I like to microwave mine. Place it on a piece of parchment paper and microwave it for around 45 seconds. It honestly depends on your microwave wattage. So 45 seconds might be fine, but you might have to go longer. You might have to go shorter. Just keep an eye on it. Either way, you want to let it cool completely before handling it. If you try and pick it up when it's warm, it's going to crumble. Although it's delicious, especially if you love a warm chocolate chip cookie, you just might have to eat it with a fork. But once it cools completely, you can easily pick it up and handle it. There is one recipe that is guaranteed to do the trick for us anytime we fall off the bus, or if we're really missing that comfort food flavors. It's something I recommend to people who are just starting out on keto or if they're struggling to stay on. Click right here to see what it is.